Irish history has been turbulent, with raiders from far-off lands leaving their mark on the small island nation. The arrival of nobles, such as Strongbow, from beyond the seas caused great changes in the landscape and the social organisation which would last until the present day. As the years went by, the Norman influence grew and Irish natives were pushed further back towards the west. Trim Castle started out as a wooden fortification with a spiked stockade, common in medieval times. It was set above the River Boyne, on a hill overlooking the county. It served as a headquarters for de Lacy's forces until 1175, when a Gaelic Irish force, led by Rory O'Connor, King of Connacht, marched onto the site in an attempt to deter foreign invaders. The wooden fortification was burned to the ground before O'Connor's forces withdrew from the area. De Lacy was reluctant to give the defensive location and soon returned to rebuild his stronghold. Soon after the attack, construction began on a massive three-storied keep. The building was staggering in size and dominated the landscape. It is built in an unusual 20-sided cruciform shape and boasted walls over 14 feet thick in places. De Lacy faced enemies on all sides. Threats ranged from foreign invading forces to other Normans, who grew jealous of his status and immense wealth. This led to the creation of a moat, as well as the building of curtain walls and a drawbridge entrance to the north. After he was unfortunate enough to be decapitated by one of his own advisors, De Lacy's son Walter inherited the lands in 1189. It was under Walter's leadership that the castle was soon refortified and expanded. The River Boyne was integral to the upkeep of the castle and the town. As well as a natural barrier to anyone brave enough to attack, it has also provided a trade and escape route to the allied port of Drogheda, 35 kilometres to the northeast. A deep harbour and pier were developed, which allowed ships to moor and unload goods and passengers. This new port also brought supplies in the growing town of Trim, which had begun to develop outside the castle walls. Stores, workshops, and kitchens were built along the river's edge to provide easy access to the castle. The Boyne has historically played a major role in Irish history and has a rich historical, archaeological, and mythical heritage. It flows past sites such as the Hill of Tara, Newgrange, Knowth, and Douth. Walter de Lacy outlived both his son and his grandson, eventually dying in 1241. His land was divided amongst his two granddaughters. However, the castle remained without a leader until Maud de Lacy was old enough to marry. Under her rule, the castle and town saw a period of modernisation. The vast new Great Hall was lit by large windows on either side, with a view over the harbour and St Mary's Cathedral on the opposite bank of the river. The roof was supported by carved oak columns. A great central hearth heated the hall, while a lantern-like louvre in the roof vented the room of smoke and fumes. By the 13th century, Trim had grown into one of the most important market centres in Meath. In 1649, following the sacking of Drogheda, the Cromwellian invasion of Ireland saw the destruction of many Irish historic castles. By the 18th century, there were no more heirs to take over the castle. It quickly fell into a state of disrepair, forgotten by the same people who had once built it. Life around Trim Castle has greatly changed since Hugh de Lacy built his first wooden fortification in the 1100s, but the castle still sits proudly over the town. Trim Castle is one of the few remnants of medieval Ireland that has not been subject to renovation or rebuilding. It is untouched by modern architecture and remains an authentic structure of Old Ireland. The legacy of those that built it has far outlived their reign, and their mark upon the landscape means they will not be forgotten soon.